Greeting everyone. We hope you are okay wherever you are. I am Ngabuto Nicholas Mabena. My apologies. You might have noticed that we tried earlier on to record. Um, we are struggling because of load shedding with internet. Let's get back. Let's get straight to the discussion that we are having. The ANC policy on migration. We had promised that we were going to have this discussion. It's a 65-page document or so. We have already posted in our social media platforms in PDF form. We encourage comrades to read. Though we know that most comrades do not have the culture of reading, but it's important that we read this document so that we have a better understanding on the migration policy as proposed by the African National Congress at its conference in December, which then concluded in February, as we said which concluded in January 2023. As we said, as we said previously, is that now that the ANC has officially adopted the migration policy at its conference, it has now to go to Parliament for it to become law in South Africa. We do not know how long it is going to take, but normally it takes about 18 months. The parliamentary processes take about 18 months. But because there's an election in 2024 and migration is a topical issue in South Africa, it might take 6 months. That's just an estimation. So the document starts by discussing problematic issues around immigration in South Africa, the management of migration, the international trends, how other countries are managing migration. It talks about international conventions. We have been hearing the Minister of Home Affairs and other ANC officials that the ANC needs to, or South Africa needs to, pull out of those international conventions that it signed post in 1994. So the document analyzes that, and also there are quite a number of quotes from different countries on their attitude to these international conventions that were signed. They've quoted a number of African countries, Asian, European, and the North American countries. And then it speaks about that migration is managed by the Refugees Act, the Immigration Act, and Citizenship Act, which they want all this to be overhauled so that they are able, the ANC-led government is able to manage properly in as per the document, the question of migration. So we are not discussing the entire document because we already have it. If you are in our social media platforms, that is Telegram, WhatsApp, and other platforms, we've been trying to share that PDF. But if you are not in our platforms, please Google the ANC policy document on migration. It will certainly assist you. We are looking only into the migration, into the recommendations, policy recommendations by the ANC. We said previously that if you hold a refugee status, where you came to South Africa, you were granted what is called Section 22, which is Asylum document. You have been renewing at the refugees offices. You then got granted a refugee status. The policy recommendation is that such individuals, if in their countries the situation that they ran away from, whether it was a war or political violence or whatever it was, it has improved. You need to go back to your country of origin. It says that the ANC led government should work with or collaborate with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the ambassadors concerned, and make it possible or come up with a legislative framework that will assist in the repatriation or voluntary repatriation of refugees who now in their countries of origin is now safe to do so. Uh, uh, um, it also says the ANC government must firmly deal with a disturbing trend that had emerged in South Africa in which Asylum is regarded as a permanent solution and an easy route to citizenship. So it says, and some people use Asylum, you get Asylum, refugee, then later on become a citizen of South Africa. So they need an overhaul to that. Let's look into the second one, which is citizenship. You will know that citizenship is you acquire citizenship in three ways. Firstly, which it's something which all countries do. You become a citizen of your country through birth. You become a citizen through neutralization, or you become a citizen through descent. So the ANC, then in terms of its recommendation in the migration policy, says citizenship laws must be tightened to avoid undeserving foreign nationals becoming South African citizens by default and through fraudulent means, and in the process exploit the country for some criminal and underhand business activities. It is calling for the overhaul of the Citizenship Act and make it difficult for people to become citizens of South Africa. It says, I quote, laws governing citizenship by neutralization must be completely overhauled by the ANC-led government to avoid the current abuse of the system, close quote. So this, the recommendation on the citizenship in South Africa, as we have said, that you become a citizen through birth or through neutralization, or citizenship through or a citizen through descent. And then the last one that we want to look into is immigration. It says, I quote, before the Immigration Act 13 of 2002 was enacted, the applicable legislation was the Aliens Control Act and the Aliens Control Amendment Act. It then the recommendation that it makes, it recognizes, the document recognizes that there are people that are in South Africa who are using spousal visa, relative visa, cooperative visa, and the other related visas. So the recommendation by the ANC is that this should be done away with. In other words, if you are a person of low skill, which many holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits are, and you do not qualify to move to another visa, people are either applying for spouse visa on the basis that either their partner is South African or is on permanent residence. And the ANC proposal is that this should be delinked. It should not be, the issues of marriage should not be linked to issues of documentation. They are saying in marriage is governed by the Marriage Act and the Children's Act, which I've not looked into. We will look into those and have a discussion around those. There are also those that will say, my uncle came here earlier on, was granted what is called the Mandela ID. People always ask, should I then apply under my uncle? That becomes a relative visa. The proposal is that this should not be the case. Each person must make their own application as per the Immigration Act, which they are proposing. That is, if you qualify in terms of the visas, which we'll discuss in the next video, you then should be granted a work permit or any other visa for you to remain in the Republic. But you should not apply on the basis that your relative or your partner is in South Africa legally. So these are some of the recommendations that were made in the ANC conference. We will, in the next video, look into other proposals, the immigration board. There's a proposal on the immigration board. We look into the critical skills list, which they summarize briefly. We'll look into what they call abuse of the visa and permanent residence system. We'll look into the policy recommendations around those, and the immigration courts will look into what the document discusses, and the recommendations around the immigration courts, around the board, and then in policy recommendation towards a single citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection. Please read the document so that when we do a summary, at least you have a better understanding. Please, if you are reading the document and you have come across some questions or some issues that are of interest and you need clarity, please write in the comment section. Ask those questions so that we do our research with my team, and we come back to you with the responses. Otherwise, have a great day. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Goodbye.